Okay, it's showtime for d- daily daily game design. I actually have some exciting news in addition to what what I received. Was it yesterday or the day before from Mike Petty? These ozone designs. I also got a package from Brian Shoemaker. Connected with him the same way, Board Game Design Lab. Anyway, just super cool people. I have no idea what's in this package, so I'm excited to share whatever this is. You know what's cool about these, like, really more small scale indie tabletop game designers is they find ways of solving problems, and like, you can imagine that there are economic pressures that, like in the case of these small boxes, economic pressures that reward packability, shippability, that kind of thing. So, that's a similar thing that went on when I was working on my sauce, my hot sauce, Scott sauce. I found a way to make it possible for me to ship really easily and really cheaply. And that meant certain packaging decisions, it meant sizing decisions. So anyway, it's cool to have these designers out there that have figured out, wow, this is like double triple secret. Very cool. No idea what this could be, honestly. I think he does, clearly small box stuff, but oh, very cool. 2 copies of Samson and Delilah. Now this is a brand new game to me, so I'm gonna pop one of these open. Okay. I really don't know what I'm getting into here. This is actually very cool. Like, look at this little drawstring bag. It's almost like a little canvas type of bag. Not sure exactly how to describe this bit of material. Wow, this is cool. Okay. So, okay, so we have a little, this looks like a player aid. Wait a minute. I think I've seen somebody posting about this. Yes, very cool. Okay. Designed by Travis Magram, published by Glass Shoe Games. Samson and Delilah is a fast, asymmetric social deduction and drafting game for 2 players. Samson and the Israelites are fighting the Philistines. Delilah stands in the middle with the power to assist Samson by saving enough locks of his hair, or to betray him to the enemy. Should Samson trust Delilah, or can he win this war on his own? Anyway, it's interesting here because, like, this is the rule book. Okay? We're talking 2, I don't know what size paper this is. It's not 8.5 by 11. But, 2 sheets, printed, folded. And it's printed in color. It's on a finely textured paper. So, I feel like that's a quality consideration. Like, there's no way you're gonna see this, but there's a there's some sort of texture on the paper. It's almost like not vinyl. There's a finish you can get on cards that's similar, and I can't think of what it is. Anyway, That's wild. And then here we have the deck of cards. See, this is amazing. Like what a cool strategy. Just like keep it simple. This is all home brewed, but it's still thoughtful, right? It's, you know, definitely this was hand assembled. Love these cards. Love the fatigue style. I mean, the artwork is cool. There's like at least a couple biblical references here. A lock of hair, right? And then the story of the foxes having their tails tied together is somehow relevant here. Very, very cool. Very cool. So there's this little decision tree, or like a diagram, which shows, does Samson trust Delilah? No. And then we go down this little path. So, does Samson trust Delilah? Nope. Is Delilah on Samson's side? No. Then, okay, interesting. So Samson, I guess at the end of the game, has to decide whether he trusts Delilah. If he does not, and he is correct, then Delilah loses and Samson wins. If he does not, but he's wrong, then they both lose. Okay, let's follow this other path. Okay, does he trust Delilah? Yes. Remove Philistines cards matching the color of Israelite cards. Cool. Is the sum of Samson's cards greater than or equal to Delilah and the Philistines cards? No. Is Delilah on Samson's side? Yes. So they didn't put enough strength together. They didn't put enough strength into the deck or whatever. I don't know how to arrange these cards yet. But then they both lose. If no, so he trusts her, and they weren't strong enough to defeat the Philistines, then is Delilah on Samson's side? No. Then Delilah wins and Samson loses. Okay. There's one more path here. Okay, there's one more path. This is clever. It just takes a little while to unravel. Okay. So now, does Samson trust Delilah? Yes. Okay, remove the Philistines cards matching the color of Israelite cards. Is the sum of Samson's cards greater than or equal to Delilah and the Philistines cards? Yes. Is Delilah on Samson's side? No. Then Delilah loses, Samson wins, and if yes, then they both win. Anyway, cool. I expect this to be a fun little puzzle. General strategy. There's a little strategy guide. Oh, okay. Cool. They oh, this is neat. So I think, well, dual use. So hopefully what this means, because the card back looks like this, so that apparently if I'm, let's say I'm Delilah, or I'm Samson, or I'm supporting the Israelites or the Philistines, something like that. Anyway, super stoked to have a look at this game a little closer. I just love this. I love this creativity. I love this problem solving. As I said, it's awesome to see what indie designers do, how they handle these challenges of production, shipping, considerations of quality at the same time, right? Like, how do you offer your players a really good, positive experience and also keep your games accessible, affordable. Make them possible for you to continue creating. It very much seems like this, like it's literally hand assembled. And I guess, to be honest, most games are. On some level, they're hand assembled. But for the publisher himself, to be assembling things. I mean, that's my assumption. I haven't asked him what his process is. But I'm just really excited to have enjoyed the generosity of a clever, community-oriented person. It's just really neat. I'm excited to be bringing this game to the retreat. It's exactly 3 weeks away right now. So this will be a special treat for everybody. Again, one last time. I'll show here just in 1 second. I'm just repackaging the game. So this is Samson and Delilah. Samson and Delilah, a 2-player social deduction game somehow. Designed by Travis Magram and published by Glass Shoe Games, and provided to me by Brian Shoemaker, the man himself, who's behind Glass Shoe Games. Anyway, stoked about that. I think that'll be really neat. Yeah, I didn't realize. I remember seeing somebody posting about this. Maybe it was Travis, but Brian sent me a couple of copies for the retreat coming up in a few weeks. So that's very cool. So these are the 3 on offer that I expect we'll be building we'll be building tournaments around. I'm not exactly sure how a tournament can happen with Samson and Delilah, but sure, why not? And then I have Ozone and Axcadia. So this duo, this pair is from Mike Petty. Anyway, very, very cool. Yeah, welcome, Mike. So I'm gonna talk through a little bit of what I learned from yesterday's playtest. So you'll remember that I exited early from streaming yesterday so I could make it in time for the virtual playtesting session, and I sat through 2 games. One by a guy named Adi, and that game, how to describe it? It was a cool sort of compact version of Clank. The idea was that you're trying to steal treasure from a dragon, trying not to wake it up. But anyway, so you're playing cards out of your hand. Those cards have like a noise value. And as a group, if you exceed the threshold that would of value that would wake up the dragon, well, I I appreciate the thought. I mean, I'm happy to take any games that my friends are willing to send me and build some experiences around them at the retreat. It may be a little late. I mean, actually, the game showed up with haste. I don't remember when I invited. I think he said he sent them last week, so they're moving pretty quickly. But I'm not sure when when we'll pass when the door of probation will close. But yeah, I mean, sure, would love to have a look. I don't actually know. Actually, can you send me a link to your game? Oh, okay. Now, I'll be honest, Mike. I don't know that I have the the capacity and fortitude right now to add projects like a PnP, but I like the idea. Um, yeah, that's possible, but I don't know. Actually, even Chris Baki was saying he might send some print and plays over. Uh, it just is one more step that I feel like I'll need to have on the back burner for a little while, and then it's not obvious that I would get to it. I really like the idea. I'm just on the most basic level trying to get more people to buy into what we're doing. Rustle up some more attendance. Yeah, it's an interesting challenge because we've had to raise prices, but our mission is the same. That's the thing. Like our relationship with the camp has changed, and it's an interesting set of issues anyway because the camp is up in Waianae, and Waianae has a reputation for violence, and I'll even say backwardness. It's sort of the if somebody has a negative view of rednecks, I feel like that same thinking applies up in Waianae. Um, and so anyway, we've got this stuff going on. We've got this beautiful camp. We have access, to some really fun activities, and I think we do a good job with offering a great experience. But the cost has crept up. This is our sixth one. We've had to increase incrementally every retreat. And so, there's always the sticker shock that people have to get over. There's the fact that it's a drive out of town. So a lot of people, they either don't have a vehicle or they feel like anything over 30 minutes is overwhelming. And then on top of that, there's the reputation of Waianae. So we have these compounding factors. And the other thing too is there's a con a month after, so some people feel like they need to make a this or that decision, an either or decision, because finances are tight or whatever. So there are plenty of challenges, but I was even thinking about this yesterday. We have such a great group of people who come every time. I mean, we've had, I don't know what the number is, but maybe it's like, I'd say it's 25% have come to at least 5, probably more than that. And now we're getting all these repeats, these people who really enjoy being up there for the weekend. They deal with the sleep deprivation. They're okay with a few millipedes around. But yeah, it's okay. So attendance, the cost for attendance is for a day pass. So let me describe. Actually, I always feel the need to do this first. So to come and enjoy the camp, let's say you come on Saturday because it's Friday through Sunday, but just pick a day. If you come for the day, then you have full access to the camp and the events we do. There's the foam weapon fighting and archery tag. There's obviously gaming. We have a comfortable gaming space. We have a library that's actually, I think almost all of it is going to be my games this year, or this time. So I have about 100 games up there. We have swap and sell all weekend. And then we build in the food. We take care of the cooking. And anyway, so just for a day visit, that would be right around $50. So including up to 3 meals and then all of the rest of the experience. So it's a pretty insane deal. And if you come for the full weekend, then it's right around 150. So that's 7 meals. That's a cabin. That's and then addition. Well, yeah. So this you can sleep overnight in one of the cabins, or you can tent camp. But it's that in addition to the rest of the experience. So we really try to build in some meaningful things into the schedule. We have friends coming up to run RPGs this time. We're gonna have time and space for TCGs. We have um, a friend of ours who's like one of the best painters on the island, and I would say like he's probably like he's very, very, very good. A couple of them actually, they come up, they set up a little table, and they've got their paints, and they're willing to coach and stuff. So the whole thing, for the full weekend is right around 150. So it's a pretty insane deal for what I consider to be the value, especially here in Hawaii. So even if, let's just say, you were a tourist and you were looking for housing and you were okay with being up on the west side in Waianae, all you needed was a mattress. We've got the best deal going, because we've got food, we've got housing. So it's just finding a way to communicate out, what we're about. Try to encourage people to push past the obstacles that they see, and just kind of say like, I guess I was reminded yesterday to articulate the vision for what we do. And anyway, so you can see my mind is spinning and trying to get, this is our sixth one, right? And everyone is different, and the price changes and the activities we do change. And everyone presents a different set of challenges, and it always feels like we're a little late. We're just a little late. And what I'm not doing is saying our people will not show up. We have a fair number registered, and it always happens. The last 2 weeks, there's like all of a sudden people kind of get in line and sign up, and we even have walk-ins sometimes. It's pretty nuts. But anyway, the landscape is complicated, but you can see I'm preoccupied with trying to figure this stuff out, Mike. So what do we do and why do we do it? My sense is that what we do is maintain a space for building, for creating memories and building relationships. And why we do it is because we believe that every individual has innate value, and that they deserve a seat at the table. That loneliness and isolation have no place with us and around us, and that everyone is welcome. So I think we have a clear sense. Well, I continually refine my understanding of the value of what we do, and anyway, that's the closest I've come so far in trying to describe it. And I think it's really important these days to bring people together, to spend time, solving problems together, learning to live with each other. I mean, even right now, just seeing the incredible extremes that I find my friends coming from, as we react to political and social events. It's wild. So like, board games really offer an opportunity for people to connect. It's not necessarily to escape. It's not to pause real life, but it's to experience an exercise in communication and managing stress and problem solving, and dealing with complex systems, like all of this artificial, superficial pressure that builds up in a game. It's for us to sit through that together and realize we can actually be friends on the other end of it. And I really think if in these more compact, low stakes settings, if we can do this together at the table, I feel like we can at least make progress in understanding how to do that apart from the table. When it comes to things that feel like they're real life. If we can go through these moments of conflict and stress and tension together and realize we can maintain a relationship through that. Oh, we got a winner, we got a loser. Oh, wait, you did that to me? I can't believe you took that. You got there before I did. Oh, look at your victory points just going crazy. Like, we can actually learn to operate in that tension to deal with that stress. Our bodies, I am confident, and I feel like I've said this before, but I'm confident that our bodies can't really tell the difference sometimes. So to be able to go through, you know, these constructed moments and learn to be okay, I think it actually helps us learn to regulate what happens in situations that feel like the stakes are higher. So anyway, I think what we do is incredibly powerful, and we have a lot of people that buy into it too. Like I said, we have these folks who, they're committed. They really value what we do, and they show up. They come regularly. We're starting to build more events around the community, even apart from the retreat. Like I'm joining a group of friends on Sunday who who I met at the retreat, and they're just very sweet people. We have a great time together. So anyway, looking forward to that. But you can see, Mike, that I am preoccupied. Let me text somebody really quick. Had a really nice time finishing my father's work yesterday, and so we had one round left. Or one mega round. I don't know the best way to talk about that, but one generation left, and it was good because, well, it was interesting. The game seems it's very tight in terms of resources. You have to get a lot done. Now that I've played once, I understand some of the things to look out for and some of the things to work on pretty early. But I still did fine. Like, I mean, if you look at the result, I mean, there's one guy who really got hammered, but I think as in like his victory points didn't really, well, they betrayed some sense of, the victimhood. And anyway, I think he still did okay. But what a main concept in the game is that I'm going to start making a couple of changes to the game based on yesterday's playtest. A concept in the game is that your father started some project, and it's your goal, your task, over the next 3 generations to accomplish that work. So basically what it does is it gives you some direction, something to work toward that, that's very welcome at the start of a pretty big game. Say, okay, I can see, as I work on upgrades, as I make decisions about how to spend resources, how to spend my time, this card, which describes some wild invention or something. Mine was teleportation. they're they're kind of wild ideas. This card gives me some sense that I should be working in this direction. It's cool. So anyway, what that card offers is a really big payout if you accomplish it. And so I think it turned out that one of our buddies didn't finish his father's work, and the VP track showed it. But it was cool. Like it's app assisted. There's a lot of reading, which is okay. There's a lot of events. I'm not a big fan of events that just kind of happen to people. There were several things that just kind of like were out of my control that just happened to me that really knocked me back. But anyway, it was cool concept, and I felt really good about completing my father's work literally on my last turn. Everything lined up so perfectly for me that I was able to have just the right number of actions left and the resources that I accomplished that work. So that was satisfying. That was pretty cool. Okay, now to the playtest from yesterday. I'm gonna show my notes. Okay, so first of all, in general, the feedback was positive. There were some questions, some tweaks that these guys suggested, but for the most part, they felt like nothing was wildly unbalanced, which was part of the goal. So thank you, Mike. And they felt like the tension was decent, like the three win cons were potentially interesting. One of the points of feedback was that community projects, nobody claimed a community project. All these are essentially like money sinks where if you pay this cost and then you claim this spot, and you make progress toward this goal. The thing is, there is no reward apart from the fact that you're getting closer to the goal. And in a way, that is a little bit like what community service is. So you can kind of deal with it. But it might feel better if you get some instant reward for doing this. You know what? Maybe I do give them a little bit of a thank you gift. Because they do service in the community, maybe they recruit some help for the next turn. That's not horrible. Right? That's not horrible. At least it's a little bump, they don't need to make money, but they can get some extra help on the next turn. So that might be a nice little treat, I guess. How to say that? Well, okay, so the notes were okay, so the power difference I established was with the three different units, where workers are 1, cubes are no. Workers are 2, cubes are 1, money is 1. So that's how those are the figures I put into all of the simple math. 2, 1, and 1. There's still an element of time that I don't really know how to compute, and that is like, a worker now versus a worker later. So it's almost like, should a worker now be worth 2 and a worker later be 1.5, something like that? in terms of payout. Anyway, so community projects was completely ignored, and it had to do with being in the late game. You were you were dealing with, like, the guys started kind of defending. One of them started really defending, and they both there was a kind of standoff at one point around gathering the mayor's favor cards. Anyway, so because nobody had ever worked on the community projects, and there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of value in doing it, and there was a great cost in doing it because it took 3 workers. So at best, like, if you're at your best, that is pretty much, that's all the free workers you got if you have upgraded staff card. That's a whole turn. So it felt like, oh, that's way too much to start working on that. And then to do it twice while the other person is working on the community, the mayor's favor cards, there was no time. There was no time to come up to community projects and also defend against somebody getting all the mayor's favor cards. So the suggestion was to drop the cost by 1 meeple. So at least you could have, one and get the sense that you were making progress somewhere else. Anyway, I thought that was fair. So even if, maybe there's some weird way to calculate, and this is the point. I think the general the reason for playtesting is, let's say, even if you do the math and the cost is reasonable, if it never presents itself as reasonable to the players, like never, right? Maybe it's an experience question. So maybe if they played 3 times, it would connect. Oh, maybe we should start working on the community projects before there's all this pressure to, once a bunch of mayor's favor cards come out. Maybe experience would lead them to think differently. But especially if the cost never presents itself as reasonable, even if it is, then it's worth changing, right? I guess that's kind of one issue with balancing is, no matter how balanced the game is, if it doesn't feel balanced to anyone, maybe there's an audience, maybe there's some segment of people that just won't get it. But if it doesn't ever feel balanced, then it's worth making some changes, I think, right? So anyway, I'm gonna try taking a meeple off, or a worker, reduce the cost of workers by 1. I would like to make this a payout. How can I communicate that that's a payout? The other thing is that, excuse me. The other thing is that one of the questions was about whether it would be more interesting yeah, okay. Telegraphed win condition. Would it be possible to have it be a free action, but the cost is adding to the pot of another space in exchange for 1/3 of a game win con? I'd have to see an example of that. You're right. It is just a win con, and I kind of don't mind that it's sitting there telegraphed and obvious. I kind of don't mind that. If you're saying that if by interacting with community projects that it affects some other element of the game state, like, that could be interesting. I kind of don't feel the need to complicate it here, just because there's already a fair amount going on, trying to balance, attending to the mayor's favor cards. and then, you know, if you're not doing well in that, and you can just run out the cubes in the sugar bush. So I don't mind the level of busyness that's going on right here. Like I wouldn't want to add more upkeep or something like that, but still open to ideas. I mean, overall, the main thing is that the game is working, but if I want community projects to seem like a more relevant path to victory, then it was just to reduce the cost. I don't think it needs a more um, I don't think it needs to feel more dynamic. Is my point. Like, you know, do they have to be thinking a couple steps down the line when they do a community project? I kind of don't think so. It's just like, cool, you got that thing done. Good for you, right? You made progress toward a win con. I feel like that's fine here. I think so. Um, Maybe not though. I guess maybe I'm not exactly sure what you have in mind. Um, like this is maybe not even necessary, right? Like this little payout of a guy. But it could be enticing, right? It could be. It could be that thing that draws them up here just a little bit. That creates a that moves them toward the tipping point of interacting with community projects. So that's just another. It introduces it makes more present the pressure to come and engage up here, which I think is cool. It's just a you know, it's just a cost for the most part, but it's glaring, right? That's the thing too, is once you make progress up there, then the other person, and in this just really simple, clear way, okay, I just claimed one spot. That other person is on notice, right? The other player is thinking, oh, like here we go. Now suddenly I have to get my my economic engine really going here to uh, for making money, right? Because now I got to keep up on community projects, whereas I was happy just running out the cubes and keeping money, right? So, or keeping the, you know, the decent amount of money I had, or I was cool with just having a bunch of cubes and using them to win the to earn the mayor's favor cards. But now I've got to pay attention to this community projects thing. Oh no, like that's cool. I think it's fine if the response is that sophisticated. In other words, is that simple. Oops. So how do um I can just make this uh yeah, how do I show this payout? So why is this like this? Should I just put it in a circle and leave it at that? Here's another thing that seemed relevant. It was this issue where what if you have a meeple left and you like it's really just stranded and you just lose it, right? So that was a concern for at least one of the guys, and it makes sense to me that that's something that would feel bad, especially if you know, you put resources um, into gaining it. So here we go. I had this thought this morning. Because what I don't have is a location where more than one player can. I don't have a location where a player can place a meeple more than one time. How to say this? This is suddenly difficult to describe. So what if we put this at like 66 and put this at 33? So what this is saying is I feel like this should be a little lighter even. Let's go 50. I like 55. And then make this super light. So what I haven't had up to this point is a way to just like spend your meeples, any number of meeples for like a bad exchange, but like at least it's something rather than nothing. So you wouldn't just completely lose lose all value of that meeple, because meeples are powerful, and you might understand that you shouldn't put yourself in a situation where you are just like losing that value. At the same time, it's probably going to happen, and it would be nice to at least give them something. Should it be market value? That's what I'm not sure about. I don't think I want to incentivize Can you make extra meeples tie? Oh. Huh. Like if you increase the number that you use to oh. Huh. Yeah, I guess this makes it feel like you're just sending your meeple, your excess meeples to the factory. And maybe that's not very nice. Actually, that is way cuter, Mike. That is a way cuter idea. Hang on, let me figure this out. Let me just get rid of this. That's a way cuter idea. Maybe I can do the same kind of thing I was thinking. I'll just put those there for now. Where was I? Or go volunteer at the town hall or something. Yeah, so this is fine then. I guess as it was fine. So let me just go back to where it was. It was cool too that Syrup Inc. was did they use it? Now I'm trying to think if they used it. I feel like they did. Oh, they did very occasionally. And I like that it is clear that this is not a good deal, but in an emergency, you got to come to Syrup Inc. And I should have. You know what, though? Would it be wrong to send any number of meeples here? I don't mind that idea, actually. Wait a second. Wait a second. Where did that go? I feel like I would be causing some kind of vertigo sometimes as I scroll up and down here. So I actually don't mind this. Hang on, I don't mind this idea. Okay. I don't mind this idea because this would mean we could still do times the number of meeples, right? So even though this is still a bad deal, you could still, if you wanted, you could spend any number of meeples to do this, to do these actions, these conversions, right? So I don't mind this idea all of a sudden. Right? Would anybody ever do this? Probably not. And I would say, I guess you'd have to probably clarify in the rule book that, yeah, I kind of don't like where this is going because there's gonna be some there are gonna be some people who say, can I use the thing I get like here, right? So is this infinite if you have a lot of money? Is it near infinite? You could no, this is still blocked, right? This is still blocked. Yeah, so I need to, why did I do that? So I need to define this icon right here as place any number of meeples here to do this action that number of times, right? So this still doesn't address the issue that somebody is just going to be left with a meeple at the end of their turn, and they're not sure what they might not be sure what they wanted during that round. They weren't sure what they wanted to do with it, so at the end of the round they have an extra meeple and they can at least do this thing, right? So I need a different icon for that, because I actually like this idea, even though I think it'd be super rare for anybody to do it. It's still possible. So they could spend 8 to gain 2 cubes, but they'd be losing 2 meeple, right? 2 meeples. And I think I need to, I wonder if I need to specify that these cubes come from, how would I do this? That these meeples come from the sugar bush, but they don't go into the evaporator, they go into the garage. I would just have to clarify that in the rules, but there's no reason that that's obvious right now. I don't know if I need to adjust the iconography a little bit for that. But okay, back to this community projects thing. because I like it as an idea. But does it need to be a separate card? You know, some games, two of them are, one of them is not. So the two that are instant wins, essentially instant wins. I mean, the person who claims or accomplishes that win con at the end of their turn, at least at the moment, I'm saying at the end of their turn they win. So those are the community projects and Mayor's Favor card win cons. The one that doesn't work like that is the one where you empty the sugar bush and then you just check to see who has the most money. So that one operates differently. But the other two, I'm thinking, yes, you support 3 community projects at the end of your turn, you win. You gain 4 Mayor's Favor cards at the end of your turn, you win. But if you deplete the sugar bush for the 3rd time, then at the end of that round, then you just check to see who has the most money. Yeah. Okay, I'm about to wrap up for today. I feel like there's some cool ideas here. I really do like the idea of oh, I want to make this change really quick. I'll come back to community projects, but this came up in the playtest yesterday, where there was some really weird stuff about how, like, what kind of action it takes to earn the mayor's. Actually, wait, let me do it this other way. How do you earn a Mayor's Favor card? That was the question, and the answer I had was that you that on your turn, all you have to do is spend that number of cubes, and what that created was the potential for some weird situations where you could technically stay in the round. Like, it was a full action. It was an action that you would spend a turn to gain a Mayor's Favor card, but actually this is probably better just to do it like this. Right, it was a 1 cube thing, right? That was 2. I gotta be careful here. But it was a little confusing because in every other case, it takes a worker to take an action. So they thought, to avoid any kind of confusion, it would be better if every action you took in the game required a meeple, a worker. And for me, that seems reasonable. Oh, I don't want to do this. Let me put a worker in there just to see what it looks like. So I can leave it here like this. And so just for the sake of continuity of turns, like this makes sense. Right? Actually, I can just copy both. Control Alt bracket. Left bracket, I think. Control Alt left bracket. Okay, perfect. So this makes sense to me. I have a feeling it's, well, you know what? It's going to change. What this means is it's going to change the pace of earning Mayor's Favorite cards. So in a way, like, that's good. It's going to make them a little less accessible. In other words, the other win cons are going to matter more. The tension for timing will be higher. So I think that's a good thing. So I think that's the right move, is making each one of those, spending a meeple on each one of these cards. The other idea that came up was, no, I think I'm going to leave it. So the other idea was to have the Mayor's Favorite cards, the deck, to have it face up. And in that case, what would happen, the sense would be that at least you know what's coming and you can kind of work toward it. But I built that as an ability. I built that into the town hall. So I actually want competition over who's going first to matter more. And so in that way, it's important that, you know, if you really want to see what's coming, then go to the town hall, talk to the mayor. He'll tell you where he's going next. You could even convince him to go somewhere else. He's just not going to tell you. He hasn't made his decision yet. So that's what Scry 1 means. You can look at the top card and you can decide to leave it on the top or to place it at the bottom of the deck. And you know what? That was actually really relevant yesterday. It was actually pretty cool to see because the main competition was for Mayor's Favorite cards. And that was the win con that was going to work out for one of the guys, and that's what led to like a whole bunch of defense at some point. And what was interesting is it came down to what is the last Mayor's Favorite card. So one guy knew what it was, but he forgot. So, or I should say, one guy had seen it, so he could anticipate what he would have to do to win it, but he just forgot what it was. How do I want to mark that this is a little payout? Maybe I just give it a cube, give it a little box around it. I don't know. Sure, right? Does that look right? Is a little payout? Maybe I'll make it a circle. That seems fine. Okay. I think it's about time to wrap up. What was the last thing? Oh, I wanted to just have maybe one last look at what I could do for community projects here. Over on this side. I don't like that this is going to change. I really don't. I don't like the idea of being able to, like, that this community projects card would behave very differently, or the players would relate to it very differently. Maybe I could do something else. Yeah, like the way I'm thinking about it right now is that to claim one of these, then they would spend 2. But then to do this other way, to interact with the community projects differently, they would do this thing over here. And I don't like that there would be one card that's completely different from all the rest of the cards. It'd just be like kind of an annoying teaching moment, I think. So I'm not a huge fan of that. So, I like the idea. Thematically, it makes a lot of sense to me. We don't have much to do. Let's go volunteer. I mean, that's like the pro-social thing to do, right? But it also could be, let's just go work at the let's go work at the factory. It's sad. It's a sadder state of affairs. That's true. I don't have an area majority situation anymore. I did. I did when I was when Syrup Inc. was more like a tug of war. It kind of behaved like area majority in that case. I didn't like any added upkeep, but that was an income. That was an income like every turn, and so it was something that it was really easy to forget for players. If there was some end of week upkeep, because that's what I'm thinking now is I have turns, rounds, and weeks. At the end of a week, which is when the sugar bush empties, if there were a couple more steps, that doesn't sound horrible. At this point, we also might be into expansion territory. I think they're probably, I mean, even though I feel like I kind of scraped the bottom of my barrel in terms of like the ideas I was having, the ideas I had to have a bunch more cards just added more busyness and upkeep. But I think some simple area majority thing sounds good. I don't know if that needs to be community projects or some other card, or if eventually I would just replace one of these. But I like it. So you just go there and you drop a meeple off, and then whoever has more meeples there by the end of the round gets some. By the end of the week, get some kind of payout. I imagine that's kind of what you're describing. I don't want to add another win con, but that's more potential. I also don't want to add a lot of meeples, so it could be that there's a little track that you've got a cube to move up and down. Anyway, I do think I'm happy. Yeah. I see. So, yeah, so rather than oh, interesting, because there's 3 weeks. So this could actually be So what I think that would do is that would eliminate the need for like a money check win con. Right? Because inevitably somebody would win two of the three weeks. So the winner would be just the one who had the majority for 2 out of 3 times. But if they got majority twice in a row, then that's like a super short game. So I don't super love that. It could be that they just add to the collection of... Right, if there's a tie. Well, if there's a tie once, then there's a good chance that... Yeah, if there's one tie out of 3... and then one player wins one, the other player wins the second. Let's say there's a tie week 1, then player 1, or let me say player A wins the second week, player B wins the third week, then there's a tie, and that tie could get passed on to money. That also sounds like a mouthful for the rule book. Cool ideas, though. I can write these down. Some ideas for adjusting the win con. The win cons, some kind of area majority, maybe related to community projects or another building type. I don't have any ideas for that yet. Another building, the player with the most workers there at the end of the week makes progress on a win con. Win 2 of 3, win the game. It does seem though like I don't think I would want anything that lets the game end in 2 rounds. So that'd be something to think through. But yeah, two rounds would feel way too short. So it could be that it just counts as one community project of 5 or something like that. Like that seems like it could so you could either go and spend money on community projects, maybe they each provide $10 at the end of the game. What, the community projects, like if you claimed one, there's a payout. But I guess what I actually like the idea that we don't need to compare money at the end. So in general, I think reaching one of these other win cons is, I mean, comparing money is fine. I think it's still cool if it's like an economic problem. Like I do think it should matter how you manage your money. So I think money being related to one of them sounds like a good idea. But if it turns out that you just get more community projects than the other, and that happens to be converted into money, I would just prefer just have them win with community projects. Can you make the third win con being to accumulate a certain amount of money? Oh, just like hit $70 or something. I actually thought of that. I mean, no, I tried that at one point. No, that was the very first win con ever. It was be the first to reach 20 money or 25 money or something like that. That's when it was a tiny game, like a 5 card game or something like that. I don't mind it. I don't mind that idea really at all. Yeah, I think that'd be like a big, just mathy question of asking, um, what's the most efficient somebody could be while ignoring these other things. I kind of not a huge fan of that idea because I want them to interact with this other stuff. I think it'd be nice if they worked on community projects and on this other stuff and on this other stuff. You know, yeah, that's a tough one. What is it? Just this other idea was, earn X money. You know what? Too, you know what would not be a problem at all is like, what if there was a deck of win cons, right? So it's like which three win cons apply this game. So it could be, hit $40. If there are, let's say, 6 win cons possible, and 3 of them come out as, I guess I haven't thought of any other ones, but if I assume that one of the win cons should always be related to what if if the sugar bush runs out of cubes, what happens? It could be whoever has the most community projects at that time, or who has the most whoever has the most when the cubes. Whoever has the most community projects when the cubes run out. So it could be that hit $40 with 2 workers or $60 with 3 workers. I'm not sure I fully understand that idea, but I like different conditions for different outcomes. With X workers or X money with X+1 workers. Yeah, I don't completely know what the difference in workers means, but I think I like what you're getting at. Ooh, that's spicy. Yeah, I like that. So if you never upgrade, actually, that idea even expands beyond workers because you could just say, do this thing without any upgrades, right? Or, actually, I think. Well, I was starting to consider like a mini campaign, or even like a solo game. So I do have ideas for a solo variant, and that would be really fun as like, yeah, I think that's a really smart idea. As in, don't take the staff upgrade. Yeah, I think that'd be neat. And if there was a campaign or a solo game, then a kind of achievements card or something like a little achievements list, something on there would be do this without upgrading that, right? So I think there could actually be a whole collection of ideas like that. But I need to transition away. I do have a day of school coming up in a few minutes. I was awake at like 3:15 or 3:30 this morning, so hopefully I don't crash. The good news is I was asleep by like 10:15, so that was pretty awesome. But it still means only 5 hours of sleep, but hopefully I'll make it through the day fine. Mike, I appreciate your ideas and your participation here as usual. It's pretty awesome, and it's fun to really to kind of feel like I'm part of a team rather than just working on my own. So it's a really fun dynamic to have you and Francisco whenever he's available. Yeah, well, I complicated is fine. It's just deciding on how and when to turn that dial, right? So like I said, if there's some kind of expansion material or if there's a campaign and it invites, thinking differently about win conditions and stuff, I think that's really, really cool. So no matter what, there could be an outlet for good ideas. Anyway, thanks a lot, and I'll see you soon.